My name's Jessica, and if you're settling in to hear this tale, let's get a couple things straight from the start. My life? Pretty standard. Family? Decent folks, nothing flashy. But we did have one damn unusual thing that made us kinda stand out, this old family ring. Platinum, studded with diamonds, and smack in the middle, a big red rubellite. This wasn't just any bling, it came with a story, a legacy from my great-grandfather. Back in his day, great-grandpa was the big cheese, a self-made man with a business empire that crumbled faster than a stale cookie after he was gone. By the time the ring got to me, it was about all that was left, courtesy of a family tradition of bad luck and worse decisions. My mom, she kept it safe, like a treasure chest of hope for better days. The day I got that ring wasn't just any day, it was my wedding day. I remember standing there in my simple white dress, Mom holding out the ring with hands that trembled not from age but from the weight of the moment. "Jessica," she said, her voice rough, like she was fighting back more than just nerves. "This ring, your great-grandpa's ring, it's yours now. Promise me something, will ya? Don't sell this thing. It ain't just about the cash. It's about where we're from, who you are. Keep it safe, and one day, pass it on to your own kid." Taking that ring, feeling the cool metal against my skin, it was like holding on to a piece of history, a connection to a past I'd only heard about in stories. I slipped it on my finger, the weight of it heavy with promise. "I promise, Mom," I said, trying to sound braver than I felt. "It'll stay in the family. It'll be our little girl's one day." The way her eyes misted up, you'd think I'd just handed her the moon. But that's Mom for you, always big on sentiment. "Now go on." She pushed gently, her smile shaky as she brushed a tear from her cheek. "Jake's waiting for you down that aisle. Don't keep the man standing too long." Walking down that aisle, the ring sparkling under the church lights, I felt like I was stepping right into a new chapter, the kind where you leave behind the old fears and step into new hopes. Jake stood there at the altar, his face lit up like a kid at Christmas, and I thought, yeah, this is right. This is good. As the music swelled around us, I thought about that promise. Life was going to change, sure. But some things, they stay the same. Like the weight of a promise, carried not just in a ring, but in the heart. That night, under the strings of twinkling lights, dancing with my new husband, I felt like everything was exactly as it should be. And I was ready for it, come what may. Starting fresh, that's what Jake and I were all about after tying the knot. Life was cruising along, ordinary, nothing too wild. But then, like a sucker punch, life threw us one hell of a curveball. My folks got caught in a nasty car wreck. Gone, just like that. The grief? It hit like a freight train. But life doesn't pause, not even when your heart's shattered. In the mess they left behind, they did leave us a bit of a cushion, a small house and some money. It wasn't a fortune, but it was something. Sitting around the kitchen table one night, Jake and I started talking about what to do next. The apartment we lived in was alright, but with a baby on the way, we were thinking bigger, better. "We need more space, Jess," Jake said, scanning the real estate listings like they held the secrets of the universe. "Somewhere quiet, safe. Good schools, a backyard maybe?" I nodded, fiddling with the ring on my finger. "Yeah, and maybe a place where our kid can actually run around. Not just some cramped playground." So, we made a plan. Sold both the apartment and my parents' house. Took us a bit to find the right spot, but then, like a diamond in the rough, we found it. A nice house, not too flashy, but with a decent yard, in one of those neighborhoods where kids play outside until the streetlights come on. The day we signed the papers, I felt a mix of nerves and excitement bubbling up. "We're really doing this, huh?" I said as we stood outside our soon-to-be home. Jake wrapped his arm around me, a wide grin on his face. "Yeah, Jess, we're doing this. It's a new start for all three of us." Moving was a beast. Boxes everywhere, my belly getting in the way as I tried to pack up years of our lives. But bit by bit, the new house started to feel like home. We painted the nursery a cheerful yellow, assembled a crib that was more complicated than a NASA project, and slowly, the echo in the empty rooms began to fill with the sound of our laughter and plans. One evening, after a long day of unpacking and dodgy takeout, we collapsed on the couch, surrounded by half-unpacked boxes. "You think we did the right thing?" I murmured, suddenly unsure. "The house, the neighborhood, is it all gonna be worth it?" Jake took my hand, squeezing it gently. "Jess, it's perfect. It's more than just a house, you know? It's a promise. A promise to our little one, to give them the best damn life we can." As the days turned into weeks, we put the final touches on the house. The repairs went smoother than expected, and before we knew it, we were hosting our first barbecue in the backyard, our friends oohing and awing over the place. "Look at you two, all grown up and suburban," my best friend teased as she handed me a mocktail. I laughed, rolling my eyes. Yeah, who would have thought? Jessica, the suburban mom-to-be. Just when Jake and I thought we'd caught a break, life decided to throw another curve at us. It wasn't enough that we were dealing with a new house and a baby on the way, now we had Linda, Jake's mom, rolling into town unannounced. She just showed up one afternoon with her suitcase, a big hat, and an even bigger plan to stay. I remember her standing at our front door, all smiles and too much perfume. "Surprise! I'm here to help with the baby," she announced, pushing past me into the living room like it was her own place. I glanced at Jake, who looked as blindsided as I felt. "Mom, what do you mean? You're staying here?" His voice had that edge, the one he gets when he's trying to stay calm but freaking out inside. "Of course, honey. Where else would I stay? I'm here to help, and it's so much easier if I'm right here." She started fussing around, moving things on the shelves, making herself at home without so much as a "by your leave." I caught Jake's eye, and we both knew we needed a sidebar, fast. Excusing ourselves, we headed to the kitchen under the guise of making tea. "Jake, this can't happen. We've just settled in. We need our space, especially now," I whispered fiercely as soon as we were out of earshot. "I know, Jess, I know. But it's my mom. What do you want me to do? Kick her out?" He ran his hands through his hair, looking trapped. "Not kick her out, but maybe, could she stay somewhere else nearby? An apartment, just for a few months?" I suggested, trying to keep my voice down. Jake sighed, nodding slowly. "Okay, I'll talk to her. I'll try to make her see that it's better for everyone." Armed with tea, we returned to the living room where Linda had already made a small nest for herself on the sofa. Jake cleared his throat. "Mom, Jessica, and I were thinking. Maybe it would be better if you got a place nearby. Just while you're here. This way you have your space, and we have ours." Linda looked up, her face a picture of hurt. "But I thought you'd want your mother close during such an important time." "I just want to be helpful." "It's not that, Mom. We really appreciate it, but Jessica needs rest and peace. It might be too much all of us under one roof. How about I look for a nice apartment for you, just down the road?" Jake was doing his best to keep the peace. She sighed dramatically, but eventually nodded. "Fine, if that's how you want it. But I'll be coming by every day to help out. After all, that's what I'm here for." It wasn't ideal, but it was a compromise. Linda agreed to move into an apartment nearby. It was close enough to keep her feeling useful, and just far enough to give us breathing room. But as the days passed, her definition of helping started to strain even that arrangement. She'd pop over first thing in the morning, sometimes even before we had breakfast. She'd rearrange my kitchen, critique my choice of baby clothes, and had an opinion on everything from the color of our curtains to what I should be eating. Every single day. One afternoon, I caught her rummaging through our fridge, helping herself to a piece of cake I was saving for later. "Linda, what are you doing?" I asked, more annoyed than curious. "Oh, I just needed a little something. You don't mind, do you?" She replied nonchalantly, not waiting for an answer before taking another bite. And it didn't stop at food. I'd find her using my perfume, my shampoo, even my slippers. It was like she forgot these weren't her things. Jake, ever the peacemaker, put his arm around me one evening after another day of Linda's helping. She's just excited, Jess. Let's just try to get through these next few months. Living with Linda's daily invasions was grating on my nerves, but I tried to keep the peace for Jake's sake. That Saturday, however, things escalated in a way I didn't see coming. I was lounging in our living room, flipping through a magazine and enjoying a rare quiet morning. Jake had run out to grab some groceries, and Linda was supposed to be at her apartment. Supposed to be. Without warning, she strutted into the room wearing something unmistakably mine, the peach dress I had stored away because it no longer fit my pregnant frame. I sat up straight, my calm shattered. Linda, is that my dress? Oh, this old thing? She twirled around, the fabric clinging to her in places I'd rather not see. Found it in the guest closet. It fits me perfectly, don't you think? The audacity floored me. That was in my personal closet, Linda. What were you doing there? She shrugged, unfazed. Well, it's not like you can wear it now. You've outgrown it, obviously. Her words had a bite, her smile sharp as a knife. That doesn't mean you can just take it, I snapped, feeling my face heat up. It's about respect, Linda. You can't just rummage through my things and take what you like. It's not okay. She met my gaze, her expression cooling into something that resembled mock surprise. I really don't see the big deal. Besides, look at you, dear. That dress won't fit you anytime soon. You should be grateful someone's getting some use out of it. Her words stung, more than I expected. It wasn't just about a piece of clothing, it was a violation, a clear message that she didn't respect my boundaries, or me. Linda, I want my dress back. And I want you to stay out of my closets, I demanded, my voice firmer than I felt. She rolled her eyes, but she could see I was serious. Fine, I'll change. But you really should learn to share better, especially with family. As she left the room to change, I exhaled, trying to calm the storm inside. This was more than just a simple disagreement over a dress, it was a power play, a test of boundaries. And I knew then that setting these boundaries with Linda was going to be a constant battle, one I couldn't afford to lose, especially with a baby on the way. Things had been tense since the dress incident, but life goes on, and sometimes you just have to put on a happy face. That's what I was doing the night we decided to go out for dinner with Linda. I figured a change of scenery might lighten the mood. I even decided to wear my great-grandfather's ring. It was a special piece, and I hadn't worn it out since the wedding. We met at a nice restaurant, the kind with dim lighting and soft music, perfect for easing strained nerves. Linda was already there, seated and scanning the menu as we arrived. I reached out to shake her hand, the ring catching the light as I moved. Jessica, is that new? Linda asked, her eyes zeroing in on the ring with an intensity that made me hesitate. It's actually an old family heirloom, I replied, sliding into my seat. It belonged to my great-grandfather. Linda's interest was piqued, her earlier coldness momentarily forgotten. Really? It looks expensive. What's that stone? It looks like a ruby. It's a rubellite, I corrected gently, not wanting to come off as snippy. And yes, it's quite valuable. The waiter came to take our order, but Linda was more interested in the ring than the menu. Can I see it up close? She asked, reaching out her hand without waiting for a reply. I hesitated but ultimately slipped the ring off and handed it to her. Her fingers trembled slightly as she held it, examining the intricate setting and the way the dim restaurant light played off the facets of the diamonds. It's beautiful, she murmured, almost to herself. Then, louder, you should really have this appraised. It could be worth a fortune. I nodded, taking the ring back and sliding it onto my finger. It's been appraised. It's quite valuable, but it's not for sale. It's meant to stay in the family. Linda's eyes were still fixed on the ring. But think of what you could do with that money. A ring that just sits in a drawer most of the time, that's a waste. I tried to keep my tone light. It's not about the money, Linda. It's about what it represents. Family, continuity. It's going to my daughter one day. The rest of the meal passed with Linda making occasional comments about the ring and what she viewed as its potential. Every mention of its value made me more uncomfortable. It was clear she saw the ring not as a piece of family history but as a missed opportunity for financial gain. After dinner, as we walked to the car, Linda brought it up again. "You should really think about what I said, Jessica. That ring, it could be a nest egg. You never know when you might need that kind of money." I stopped, facing her under the streetlight. "Linda, I appreciate your concern, but the ring is not for sale. It means more to me than money." Her expression hardened slightly, and I knew this wouldn't be the last I'd hear about it. "Well, if you ever change your mind, just let me know. I can help you get a good price." The morning after our dinner outing, Linda was at our door bright and early, an eager look plastered across her face that didn't quite reach her eyes. She was like a dog with a bone, and that bone was my great-grandfather's ring. "Jessica, can I see that gorgeous ring again?" she asked, almost as soon as I opened the door. Her tone was too casual, her request too pointed. I hesitated, uncomfortable with her persistent interest. "Not right now, Linda. It's early, and I'm just getting my day started," I replied, hoping she'd catch the hint of my reluctance. But Linda wasn't one to be put off easily. She pressed on, her voice taking on a whining edge that set my teeth on edge. "Oh, come on, Jessica, just for a second. I promise I won't ask again today." Something in her tone, maybe the desperation or maybe just my own unease with her fixation, made me relent. I fetched the ring and handed it to her. Her eyes lit up as she took it, turning it over in her hands, her admiration not entirely unwelcome but overly intense. She pulled out her phone and started snapping pictures of the ring from every angle. "It's just so beautiful, Jessica. You're so lucky to have something this valuable." Her words, meant to flatter, felt more like a calculated assessment. It made me uncomfortable how she talked about the ring, as if it was a commodity rather than a cherished family heirloom. A week later, Linda brought up the ring again, this time with a new twist. "I was at the pawn shop on Main yesterday," she started, her tone casual but her eyes sharp. "Showed the owner the photos of the ring. He said he'd offer $120,000 for it. That's a lot of money, Jessica." I stiffened, my stomach turning at the thought. "The ring's not for sale, Linda. It's meant to stay in the family. It's going to my daughter," I reiterated, my tone firmer than before. But Linda was relentless. "But Jessica, think about it. That's practical money, sitting in a safe. Your property became communal when you married Jake. It's not just yours anymore. It belongs to the family now, and that includes me." Her logic was twisted, trying to equate my personal belongings with shared assets. "That's different, and you know it. The ring is not up for discussion. It's staying in the family, as intended." Seeing that I wouldn't budge, Linda's demeanor cooled into something resembling resignation mixed with annoyance. "Fine," she snapped. "Have it your way." Without another word, she turned and left, her exit as tense as the conversation. Linda's intrusive interest finally pushed me to a decision I never thought I'd have to make within my own family. I installed a video camera above the safe where I kept the ring. It felt extreme, spying on family, but Linda's behavior left me with no other choice. As my pregnancy progressed into its final months, the swelling in my arms and legs meant that wearing any jewelry, including my treasured ring, became impossible. My thoughts were consumed by my upcoming role as a mother, the anticipation building each day. Despite this, my concerns about Linda's obsession with the ring lingered in the back of my mind. One afternoon, while on a short walk to get some fresh air, I spotted Linda. She stepped out of a taxi loaded with bags from high-end stores, a stark contrast to her usual complaints about money being tight. She glanced my way, pretended not to see me, and hurried inside her place. This struck me as odd. When I got home, I called Jake. Has your mom asked you for money recently? No, she hasn't called for weeks, Jake replied, sounding puzzled. Something wasn't adding up. With a sinking feeling, I rushed to check the safe where the ring was securely stored. Or so I had thought. When I opened the safe, my heart dropped. It was empty. No ring. Just hollow space and a lingering sense of betrayal. Panicking, I pulled up the footage from the hidden camera I had installed over the safe. The truth was as clear as it was painful. 2 weeks ago, while I was at work, Linda had entered the room nonchalantly, worked the combination of the safe with a practiced ease, and taken the ring. Her casual demeanor on the video chilled me to the bone. Tears of frustration and anger welled up as I called Jake, my voice trembling with each word. The ring is gone. Linda took it. It's on video. Jake was furious, his voice a low growl of rage. Call the police, Jessica. This can't go unpunished. I hesitated, a part of me still hoping for a different solution. I'll talk to her first, I said, already dialing Linda's number. When Linda picked up, I confronted her directly. Linda, bring back the ring. I know you took it. Her laughter was cold, cruel. You're delusional, Jessica. Stop this nonsense before I sue you for defamation. Knowing she didn't realize I had video proof, I felt a grim satisfaction. We'll see about that, I replied before hanging up. I called the police and explained the situation. As we waited for them to arrive, Linda showed up at my doorstep, a bag in hand. This is a gift for my future granddaughter, she said. At that moment, the officers arrived. Linda tried to play the victim, but her performance fell flat. She has no proof. She's making it all up, Linda protested loudly. I handed the officers my tablet with the video paused at the moment Linda was taking the ring. Her face drained of color as she watched herself on the small screen. Her initial shock turned into sobs, her earlier confidence crumbling as she realized the gravity of her actions. Please, Jessica, I didn't mean it. I was just. Her excuses were weak, her pleas for forgiveness even weaker. The officers took Linda away, and as the door closed behind her, I felt a mix of relief and profound sadness. Jake arrived just as the police car left, wrapping me in a tight hug, no words needed. Later, as I was tidying up, I opened the bag Linda had brought. Inside was a cheap dress for my unborn daughter. It was nothing compared to the value of the ring, but it stung all the same, a painful reminder of Linda's greed and deception. After all the storms had passed, our lives found a new rhythm, the kind that comes when you know you've weathered the worst. Jake and I welcomed our daughter, Mia, into the world, a beautiful, healthy girl with her daddy's eyes and an infectious smile that could light up the darkest room. The court case came quickly. Linda, with her head hung low, had to face the music. It wasn't just a family matter anymore, it was theft, clear and simple. I didn't mean for it to go this far, she muttered during her testimony, her voice barely audible. It was the most remorse I'd seen from her, but it was too little, too late. The judge didn't buy her remorse either. Intentions aside, you crossed a line that's not just unlawful but deeply hurtful to your family, he said, his words stern and unyielding. She was ordered to return the stolen ring and pay us a significant sum in financial compensation. This hit her hard financially, she had to sell her house and move to a less affluent area. Jake and I decided that cutting ties with Linda was the best path forward. We wanted to shield Mia from any potential toxicity and ensure her environment was as loving and secure as possible. One day, Linda reached out, her voice a mix of desperation and hope. Jessica, I'd like to see Mia. Please. The request reopened old wounds, the memories of betrayal still fresh in my mind. No, Linda. I can't let that happen. I responded firmly, my grip on the phone tightening. But she's my granddaughter. Linda pressed, her voice cracking with emotion. I'm sorry, but you lost that privilege when you decided to steal from us. I replied, the finality in my voice mirroring the resolve in my heart. That was the last conversation we had. Mutual friends later told us that Linda had taken on new loans and her financial situation had worsened, but by then, Jake and I were too focused on our new life to dwell on her troubles. The ring, once a symbol of legacy and later of strife, found its place back in my jewelry box. I planned to pass it on to Mia when the time was right, along with the story of her great-great-grandfather, not as a tale of loss and betrayal, but as a lesson in the strength and unity of family.